How our blind source separation stands out. I think you really have to go back to the problem we were trying to solve when we started on the research into blind source separation. We started on something which is called the cocktail party problem, which is the problem when people are hard of hearing. One of the very first signs of age-related hearing loss is you lose the ability to discriminate the sounds of speech in noisy environments. And so what we wanted was something that gave you the separated sources, maximising the intelligibility of the separated source. We imagined you'd be doing it live, so you'd have a pair of Bluetooth earbuds or something and our device, and the device would be having to provide you in real time. You need to get that sound processed and separated out and to the earbuds in well under 50 milliseconds, because otherwise they lose lip sync. And there are other problems, like you really don't want to pick up the person's own voice with 50 milliseconds fold back, because that can be disconcerting. Fundamentally, for the purposes of other people, 50 milliseconds latency was our target. Now you've got to then look at that and say, well, that's 50 milliseconds, that's not too bad. But the Bluetooth hop, that's 30 gone. And then you've got all your A to D, your A D to AN, and all the other bits and pieces going on. We achieved a latency of under 5 milliseconds for the algorithmic part. Because of this requirement of this live situation, you've got a budget of how much latency you can afford. If your algorithm is chewing up half that budget, you're not popular with other people. So the smaller you can make that latency, the better it is for the whole system. The other objective we had was it had to preserve the intelligibility of speech. It was pointless doing something with 5 milliseconds if it didn't actually help people hear what was going on. The research that we did was very much focused on real-world audio, real-world recording conditions. We don't do things in the lab generally. We go out, we make recordings, real recordings, process them, test them out, and see how well the algorithm is going to work. You need to have a variety of people listen to and evaluate and test what you're doing. You can use all your metrics like your signal to interference ratio and your signal to distortion ratio. Those are really good backups, but in my opinion, there's nothing that really validates an algorithm than real people listening to it and giving you their feedback on how useful it was for them. What noise reduction is doing is, it's generally speaking, you're trying to remove the just general ambient noise from a background. Traditional noise reduction is not going to do the job of actually separating one speaker from another. Now, those two people talking simultaneously, they are actually sources in the acoustic scene. Yeah, and they're dominant and they're significant, sort of localizable sources in the acoustic scene. And so using blind source separation, you can actually separate those two sources out really quite well in the vast majority of cases, and sort of we're talking about separating by at least 20 dBs of signal interference rejection, and you just don't get that with noise reduction at all.